Hi, and welcome to the Community Producers. I'm your host, Cheyanna Shypitka. On this month's show, we'll be visiting Trails VISAC Art Gallery and learning more about the Room to Live initiative in Nelson. Ward Street Place, a 105-year-old building in downtown Nelson, is being given a new lease on life, literally, thanks to the Nelson Cares Society and its Room to Live initiative.
The building was purchased in 2002 by the community. Nelson Cares became the steward for that building. It contains 45 affordable housing units and 7 commercial spaces. The board of directors in about 2012, when just after the Kerr fire happened, realized that we had to do some work on the building to make it a safe, affordable housing block. And so there was a lot of debate about whether we would hold on to the building or put some effort into fundraising, and so that's what we did. So we made a large plan, and the plan was about $3 million to move the shelter out, to do some major renovations, and we were really successful with fundraising with BC Housing, with CBT, with a number of other donors, and we raised about $2.3 million to do some of the massive pieces that we needed to do for the infrastructure of the building, and that left us with $690,000, of which we came to the community for.
In 2014, Nelson Cares launched the community portion of the campaign, which was the Room to Live campaign, and we called it that because we're literally renovating room by room as a way to not displace any of the residents and tenants that lived here. So again, in November we kicked off the campaign with an event, a gala event at the Capitol, where the Kootenay Divas made their first premiere appearance and have come back each year to help us raise funds and bring awareness to this very important issue of affordable housing in our community. As you know, we have a real serious problem, housing problem and crisis. So this was a great opportunity for the community to come out and support Nelson Cares, to support affordable housing, and to support our community as a whole. So that thermometer that you were looking at represents the 45 rooms in the building. Each of those little windows represents $15,000, which is what it will cost to not only renovate the room itself, but will also the remainder will go into a maintenance reserve for the next 45 years so that we can preserve the building over that time period. We've just learned that the City of Nelson is going to do a match donation up to $15,000. So that means that any funds that we raise between now and December 31st, the city will match that dollar for dollar up to $15,000. So it's a great way for the community to double their donation. There's about 22 rooms that still need to be renovated, so we're about halfway there, and painting of the common areas, and if we can raise enough funds, the bathrooms, because as I said, the majority of the rooms are shared bathrooms. So.
The building is a great stock of affordable housing. It's actually the last stock of affordable housing in downtown Nelson. We house a lot of folks that have come out of homelessness, and we stabilize their lives, and we have staff that help them do that, and it's a pretty amazing little project. We don't get any public funding for it. It's all what we call a social enterprise, so the rents from the commercial tenants actually support the rent, reduce the rents for the people who live in the building.
Over the course of the last couple of years, the tenants have really come to appreciate the work that's been done. And initially, you know, there was especially the long-term tenants were like, no, I don't want you touching our room or my room. But now they're coming and saying, when is my room going to be done? When am I going to be next? So yeah, there's been lots of enthusiasm.
You know, affordable housing in British Columbia and across our country is really scarce. So anything that we can do to preserve what we already have is really important. And so this building stands as a symbol to our community that affordability is really important, and I think our community has stepped up in incredible ways to help us do that. The building would have been lost without it, so we're really happy. And now it's in, you know, it will stand for another 40 years and will be good housing for people. So we're really proud of that.
People in the community can certainly come out and help us raise the remaining funds by making a donation. And as I mentioned, the city is doing the match donation up to $15,000. So for every dollar donated, Nelson Cares will actually receive $2, which is a fantastic way to make your donation really count. And then on November the 3rd, we're hosting our final wrap-up and celebration of the campaign. So we really hope that everyone will come out and celebrate with us. It's at the Capitol Theatre on November the 3rd. And finally, just being supportive of the campaign in the remaining months would be great.
The Kootenay Association of Science and Technology recently took part in National Code Day, which encourages young people to become interested in computer programming.
Ladies Learning Code is actually a national not-for-profit organization that was started in Toronto, and there's 30 chapters across the country right now, and in the spring we were lucky to bring the Nelson Ladies Learning Code chapter here. Our first workshop took place in May, and it was about building your own website page, and we sold out within a couple of days. It was a tremendous response. We do have a huge community partnership and interest in having these programs here, so we were very fortunate to sell out in such a short time period because there's a lot of interest. And right now we are in our second workshops, and also today is National Learn to Code Day across Canada. There's 1,000 learners across the country in over 30 chapters right now, and Nelson is currently part of that. We have people that have come from Roslyn, Trail, Creston, and around the entire area for this particular workshop, and again, that one sold out within days as well. So we're looking forward to bringing the next workshop hopefully at the end of November. And the Ladies Learning Chapter Code is Ladies Learning Chapter website is a great place to find information when the workshops are taking place in Nelson.
So today was all about artificial intelligence and machine learning, specifically learning how to extract data, bring it into a system, and then actually make some predictive analysis.
We learned about artificial intelligence and just the importance of database and what that can do for companies and businesses, and what that can do just in your general life when you're reading information, and how information is funneled down, and what we take from the media or other sources, and just putting into more factual information and saying who's giving us the information and what does that mean.
So artificial intelligence is one of those new subjects that a lot of people aren't quite sure where to start from. There's not a lot of great resources in a rural community to start learning about this. So this was really a great introduction, and ultimately what we saw was a number of businesses and a number of community organizations are going to be able to take some of these values and bring them back, now apply what we've talked about today, and then figure out next steps, how they can actually further some of this even more.
Everyone learned something today that we'll definitely use. You have to use this information now just for general information. As far as my business, it'll definitely be something I look into, learning a little bit deeper, although this was just a, kind of a broad umbrella today. It's definitely something that I'll be bringing back to some of my peers, and hopefully using this database to generate more customers, customer satisfaction, and staff retention.
When we do bring very high level type of tech training to the area, it tends to sell out very quickly. People are very interested. Women in particular are underrepresented in the tech sector, I personally feel, and I want to make sure that women as well as men that are interested in learning digital literacy within the area have an opportunity to do that. It's very inexpensive, it's easy to access, and it actually, quite frankly, we're all surprised at the level of interest. Something like an artificial intelligence and machine learning workshop to be sold out in such a short time period indicates that there is a huge amount of interest for people to want to learn that kind of stuff.
Computer programming and data and stuff has typically been very much a gender parity, where it's mainly male focused, and what we're seeing now is there's a strong influx and interest in these technologies where previously there wasn't that interest. And I think in a rural community it's just more focused. We're finding that there's a lot of predefined dispositions to, well, where does this fit into our world? A lot of what we see is in the future of Star Trek, and being able to actually say machines are learning and this is what they're doing. When you're looking at Facebook and it's now suggesting another page to view or a product to buy, there had to go some forethought into that predictive analysis. So what we're seeing today is how they might use this. This might be to help prevent attrition or people leaving their jobs, happiness index or job satisfaction, being able to weight all of that into something that is actually a model that allows them to be more efficient at what they do, as well center on their business exactly the questions that make and need to be answered.
There is more workshops. So if you go to Ladies Learning Code and go to the Nelson chapter, it will give you the dates for when the next workshops will be taking place.
Here's another video installment from Trails Health and Environment Committee, showcasing ways in which we can renovate our homes safely. Here's a look at how to do a lead-safe indoor project.
We've only been here since May, but we've wanted to remodel the kitchen since the day we moved in. Some of the decor is a little dated. Everything in the kitchen was green, including the ceiling and the appliances. We're really lucky because Jaylene's dad built us some custom cabinets. Before we get those in, we need to prepare the space so we can safely tear out the old cabinets. We were worried about lead paint and dust since any house built prior to 1976 is assumed to contain lead paint. We arranged to have the kids out of the house before we got started. It's safer for them, never mind easier for us to get work done.
With all this going on, your dad's arriving. Do you want to come for dinner tonight to have spaghetti?
Yeah, and the
I'll
kids
take
are
out
okay
sauce.
to stay at your house until we get Before you begin any indoor project, remove all items from the work area. The key to a lead-safe renovation is to keep dust down while you work. Demolition is typically the dustiest part of the project. Cindy from the Trail Area Health and Environment Program was available to lend a hand and give us advice on how to do the project safely. This started by setting up a proper containment to keep dust from spreading out of the project area and into other areas of the house. You can learn more about setting up indoor projects in video number 2 of the series called Indoor Containment. We built a flapped entry on the door to the kitchen to keep dust from getting down the hall. We also covered the floor. Then, we covered the path between the kitchen and the outside with plastic sheeting to prevent dust from getting into the carpet. I put a tarp down outside for the cabinets to go on after they were removed. If the home is older than 1976, assume there is lead paint. Before you disturb a lead-painted area, ask yourself if there are any other ways to do the work. Do you need to remove all the paint, or can you just paint over it? The risks from lead paint are very low if the paint is intact and in good condition. It's when you scrape or remove it that it can become a problem. You may want to consider hiring a certified lead abatement contractor to help you deal safely with lead paint. A key part of lead-safe renovation is to use a spray bottle to mist surfaces while you scrape them. Demolish or rip out cabinets or other items, or do anything that may generate dust. Misting helps drop dust particles out of the air so they'll stay confined to as small an area as possible. We did our best not to disturb the paint while we were removing the cabinets. Just in case, we used a spray bottle to keep dust down as we worked. We removed as much as we could in whole pieces so we didn't create extra dust. Each time we pulled out a new cabinet, we placed it next to the containment door to get it ready to be carried outside. Before we took them outside, we sprayed and vacuumed the cabinets. When we carried the cabinets out of the house, we placed them in a safe location, covered them with a tarp, and tucked in the ends. Use the HEPA shot vacuum as you work to suck up dust and smaller bits of debris. This keeps the dust from spreading inside the containment and keeps your project area clean as you work. Also, use your HEPA shot vac for cleanup when you're finished the demolition. Don't use a broom or a regular vacuum as they just stir up dust, and never blow away dust or demolition debris with an air compressor. After you're finished the demolition, it's time to do a meticulous cleanup of the renovation space. I misted the containment we built to get the dust to settle. Then I wrapped up the plastic and put it all in garbage bags. Then I used the HEPA vacuum on the walls, going from top to bottom, and then the floor to remove any remaining dust from the renovation space. Then I damp wipe the walls from top down and then mop the floor. I use a 2-bucket system for wiping and mopping, 1 bucket for washing and the other for rinsing. You have to change the bucket water often enough to do a proper cleaning. If you want to make sure you've cleaned enough, wipe the wall with a wet wipe. If you see dust or dirt, get a new rag and some new water and clean again. It's important to wash up after your project. Wash your hands and face and remove your work clothes in the project area. Make sure you wash your work clothes separately from the rest of the laundry. After we did the lead-safe removal in the kitchen, it was time to install the cabinets that Jaylene's dad built. It turned out really well. Now we have the kitchen we'd been picturing since we moved in. The whole process was pretty easy from start to finish. We know our kids are growing up in a safe environment, and now I can have my mom over for dinner in our new kitchen. To have a lead-safe project, you will need a few items. a spray bottle filled with water to mist the building materials and any painted surfaces, a HEPA shop vacuum, a disposal system like garbage bags or plastic sheeting to put demo debris in, manual tools you will need for removing cabinets or walls like a drill, pry bar, or sledgehammer. If you need to remove lead paint, use manual tools and mist the lead painted surfaces as you go. Avoid using power tools or heat guns around lead paint as these are not lead safe. It's handy to have your cleaning supplies ready to go. I put 2 buckets, a bunch of rags, and a mop just outside the containment. For the dusty work, you may want a half-face respirator with P100 filter cartridges and Tyvek coveralls with booties and a hood. At a minimum, wear work clothes for any demolition work. I would have to shave my beard to make the respirator fit properly, but since we're taking the steps to make sure we don't generate dust while removing the cabinets, I'm keeping the beard for now.
Trails VISAC Gallery kicks off their new season with an exciting exhibit showcasing local tattoo artists and their work. We were there for the grand opening of Artistry and Ink, which will be on display until November 3rd.
This is our first show of the season at the VISAC Gallery. It is Artistry and Ink. It's an opportunity we felt as a community art gallery to celebrate and acknowledge these artists that are all around us that sometimes are left under the radar, which is tattoo artists. Especially in the Kootenays, we felt it was such an important part of arts culture. So this has 9 local tattoo artists who are professional artists and tattoo artists bringing their work together. I'm always on the look for artists and artwork I haven't seen before, or artists I feel that are ready and that just don't know that they are for a show. So honestly, going to different tattoo parlors myself, I do have ink. I look around and I see all this framed artwork just ready to go. And as a curator, I'm like, it's already framed, it's ready, it's awesome. And it's also such a production. Like our tattoo artists produce work far more than any other artist I see every day, and for it is a collaborative way with the public. So I just seemed silly to me that they didn't have a chance, an opportunity for a venue and a platform to just be presented.
I think it's great that we can all get together and showcase our art, and that we can all get together, people can come in and see what we're all about, get to talk to us too, and I think it's great that we all as artists get together, and because sometimes I don't think we all get together so much and collaborate or talk, so I think this is a great opportunity for all of us to sort of get to know each other better as well.
A lot of times with tattoo work, you're going to see a lot of illustrative art, and so that's because tattoo work heavily revolves around line work, and that is illustrative. So you're going to see a lot of ink on paper, but as well as artwork that was created specifically for tattooing. There's also artwork that we've asked those artists to bring just to show their individual styles. So you're going to see pretty classic rose and skulls, but also some new fantasy work. You'll know, especially in the Kootenays and throughout, I think, the whole tattoo world, mandalas and geometric work has really started emerging, which is beautiful, and those lines have to be really spot on. So you're going to see that the talent that's been brought together here is really up to the challenge. So each year, for the past 30 years, VISAC puts on anywhere between 6 to 9 exhibits. So this season, starting off with the Tattoo Art Expo, which we feel, based off the interest and the response, we may actually become a biannual thing. But besides that, or as well as, we are definitely celebrating our solo artists. We have in the spring Karen Thatcher, who's a wonderful fiber artist. The fiber arts are really re-emerging as an art form and being redefined, so we really wanted to make sure that that was included in our exhibition schedule. But one that we're super excited about is the Breastfeeding Art Expo. It's a huge body of work created from over 100 different individual pieces from artists all over the interior. So this body of work had a call to artists, and it's with Interior Health and BC Arts Council, along with many other partners, to make this a body of work that really explored the bounds in health and issues and community response about breastfeeding. So you're going to see all manner of work there, sculptural group, and that's going to be here January through February 2018. That we're really, really excited about. And of course, being the VISAC Gallery, we're also an art center. And with that, we have lapidary studio, pottery studio, and our pottery studio is actually the largest one around. We have almost over 35 active members who utilize the studio, and so we always hold space in our exhibition schedule to have a show and sale of their work too, and that'll be in the spring. Artistry and Ink, a celebration of local tattoo artist artwork, will be on display till November 3rd, all through October. It's a great opportunity to come through Halloween. All ages can enjoy this show up until November 3rd.
That's it for this edition of The Community Producers. Thanks for joining us. If you have content or video you'd like to share, contact us on our Shaw TV West Kootenay's Facebook page or by email. I'm Cheyanna Shypitka. See you next time.